channel 2 off? Over here.
No, it's not actually.
Yeah, we can probably play at that volume. It's fine. Frank's playing on a looper pedal right now. Welcome to Lunch with Dan Boul, and we are putting a Cali 76 compressor into heavy work right now. And it's May 14th, 2014, a day that will live in infamy. I don't know why, but possibly so. And we've been here for a half hour in the pre-show chat, just kind of getting ready. Tried to get the guitar mic'd up. And we got a big crowd here on the chat room today. For those of you watching the recording, I highly encourage you to come and log into Ustream during the show, and you can communicate to us. So Frank's over here looping on a pedal, jamming with himself, getting good R&B, soul, clean, heavy compressed tones out of the Whiskey, my hardest rockin' amp. Show you what we're doing. You can see the big Cali 76 compressor there. Frank's killing. Nice, Frank. Got a little Strymon verb going on there. So there you go, man. The lounge whiskey. That's right. This is the smooth single barrel bourbon. Yeah, we put that 1176 on the whole board.
Yeah.
Then we can just put a lid on this. Cats was jamming.
Alright, sorry. Never mind.
No, that's all right. Intex cables. There's no such thing as a directional speaker. Hey, this one really sounded different when you put it back in front. I mean, it was clear, man. You'd have to check it out. I'm skeptical as well. I heard this one and...
Yeah, basically, I was talking to Larry Fishman about that. I mean,
yeah.
The cable itself is technically directional. It really doesn't have that much to do with, like, I mean, it has to do with electron flow, but in a speaker cable pair, it's like directional, but one's flipped. So like it's not really, you know what I mean? Like you may have experienced a difference only in that you have, like in a 2-speaker cabinet, you're going in one way and coming out the other. You know what I mean? But
it was really clear.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because I've had 10 guys come and show me this is directional cable. And I went, okay, I'll take your word for it. But this was like, it was not, it was, you know, Helen Keller would have heard the difference.
Yeah, she would have sensed it.
It was really clear.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's so good.
Hi, Bob Dragich. How are you, man?
It's legit. Hey, Bob.
Something's going on. Either maybe it doesn't work right going one way.
The cable, yeah.
And we just think, oh yeah, this way sounds way better because it's working right.
It's the classic engineer,
right?
You know, line of, you know, I mean, not good or bad, but no, it can't sound different. But yeah, it did.
I mean, it really did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I would say, a 25% difference. It wasn't like, I think I hear something, or, yeah, okay. You know, like, it wasn't the power of suggestion. It was just kind of like, we plugged it in one way, and then the other one went, oh, no, that's the good way.
That's the right way. Yeah, that must be the way you were supposed to do it.
Yeah, and so I don't know how or why, but...
doesn't matter.
Yeah, man, the Cali really does keep the dynamics. It's crazy, man. When you're playing big and loud and a little bit of dirt going, you just sound like you're listening to a record. It's crazy. But yeah, Jean-Marc, if I ever get one of those, I'll show you what it does. The whiskey is a fixed grid bias. I don't know, man. I don't know enough about cable. I didn't take it apart. I just played it. I don't know what's going on.
It is definitely a secret sauce.
There is some kind of secret.
Yeah.
So, Frank, what did you bring us today?
Oh, I have
A high-functioning, ready for reproduction color bender.
That's true. Yeah, it's probably a little warm from the car ride.
Oh yeah, here, set it in front of the fan. Let the
Yeah.
germanium cool off.
Yeah, that's right, sweetie.
Was it sounding like it was hot?
A little bit. Yeah, when I first got here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just let it cool. I can put it in the freezer for a minute.
And then it's worse. It goes the other way.
Or just put it in the fridge.
Yeah, for like 2 seconds. Yeah, these germaniums, you know,
It's 100 degrees here right
they're
now.
like people.
So.
It takes a minute to cool off and warm up.
So we'll get to that in 15,
But,
20
yeah,
minutes.
I think we're good actually. But I think because I ran the, did I tell you I did the hairdryer test,
Yeah.
and the freezer test, you know?
Right.
And it was like 5 to 10 minutes later, once it regulated to room temperature, everything came back and it sounded great.
You just put it in front of the fan. We'll pump some air in those vents.
Yeah, that's right. The tone vents.
The tone vents.
Yeah.
Now these are
That's to let the germaniums cool.
trademark.
Heat.
Tone
Yeah,
vent. Tone vents. Trademarks.
There's a guy, John Guilford, who
65 quart.
There's a guy, John Guilford, who coined that phrase for some hollow chambers that he did in a very specific, special way on Ty Tabor's guitar.
Uh-huh. See?
So, you know, all that which is original has come before.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm the first one to register it.
Yeah.
I'm the first one to get the intellectual property. I don't want to say names, Randall Smith, because that'd be rude.
No.
But I don't know how anyone can get a patent on having 2 rectifier tubes since Fender did it in '57. But hey, whatever.
What are you gonna do?
So yeah, what's going on in your guys' world that I need to know about? What's happening here? Someone asked about new products in the works. So we got the color boost done, new version. This is the color bender, which is our take on a tone bender Mark II. We added a couple switches on there, so you have some options of voicing. You know, because those old ones, they were designed when guitars had pickups that had 7K pickups, and amps didn't have a lot of gain. So sometimes in a modern amp, a tone bender Mark II is too much. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
So we put a thing there to drop the gain down. And then we also did a voicing cap so you can get a very distinct germanium nasal thing out of it. That's really cool. So what it does is kind of adapt the old tone bender circuit to modern gear, modern guitars, and modern amps.
Without breaking it.
Well, I mean, if you take a regular old tone bender and plug in a Paul Reed Smith that has an 11K pickup or 12K pickup in it into a Mesa Boogie, which has 100 times the gain of any amp made in 1970, the tone bender's not a great pedal. But you take a 7, 8K humbucker and plug it into a Plexi, super 100 super bass 100 water, which is not a high gain amp. Man, it sounds right. I mean, plug it into an AC30, it sounds good. Yeah, the color bender, yeah, Jimmy Pagey thing on the lower gain stuff. I'm not one to associate any product with a certain guy's tone. He was using a tone bender in the early Zeppelin stuff. But a lot of times he's playing a Tele through a Supro or a Valco amp. And sometimes he was playing a Les Paul through a Marshall. Sometimes he was playing what are those things called? Lipstick pickups.
Yeah, the Danny Electros.
He was playing a Danny Electro through an Orange. You know, it's like, I don't know. And then you got to be Jimmy Page, so there's 51% of it. So
yeah, it's kind of like saying, man, that steak was so delicious. What did that guy do? What did he use? Salt?
right.
You know?
Yeah.
Salt? Was there salt on there a little bit? Yeah, I think there was.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to use some salt.
Any cow will do.
Right.
Just put salt on it.
Right. So the point is not that
Yeah.
you don't have to have salt. You do. It just
Right.
you need every component. But you know the problem that I found.
That's one of Jimmy Page's elements. I'm never going to insult your intelligence by suggesting that I'm going to sell you a piece of gear that will make you sound like another person.
Yeah.
Jimmy Page now doesn't sound like Jimmy Page back then, let alone you or me. Or, well, Frank can do it, but that's a different. I can't. Um, you get my point.
Yeah.
I rally on those points because I really get annoyed by a lot of people selling gear, telling you it's going to make you sound like someone else, which I don't want to burst anyone's bubble. That's a lie. That's not even a half truth.
Right.
It's a lie. That is what we call in the vernacular of the legal industry habeas bullshit, which means you are possessing bullshit.
The Chad Atkins story was one time he was at a studio, comes back in the engineering room, and the guy goes, "Man, that guitar sounds really good."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Really? How's it sound now?"
Right.
You know, on the stand, it was sitting up.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be the guy.
Yeah.
We go off on that a lot here because I get a lot of business, though. I got to be fair. I get a lot of business from guys who said, I went to
Yes.
amp maker X,
Yep.
who said if I bought this amp, I would sound like Eddie Van Halen. And then I go, can I put you on hold for a second? Hey, man, let me tell you something. Nothing's going to make you say, Eddie Van Halen doesn't sound like Eddie Van Halen now.
Right.
You know, so whatever. Yeah, you're hard to hear. You know, we could.
What?
I have other mics here.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
got
look,
it.
I can talk loudly.
I got a 58.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
And I even have a mic stand somewhere. We
Really?
can actually do a proper mic.
All right. Either way.
I mean, I got a 58 on a mic stand in there.
All right.
Let's do that. All right, guys, hang on one sec. Talk amongst yourself.
No, I'll keep them busy.
The Civil War. It was neither. Okay.
Okay. So here's all the stuff that I wanted to say when he was sitting in front. No, I'm just kidding. But when I mentioned that we didn't ruin it, that's the key on this thing. There's so many people that are doing tone benders, and they have to fix what's wrong with it. You know, like, oh, it's too high gain, or it's this, or it's kind of harsh in the treble, or whatever. And even one of the things to fix is like, well, if it's, 110 degrees outside and the sun's shining right on it, it sounds different. Yeah, you think so? Yeah, it actually does, because those are real germanium transistors in there, right? Deal with it. So we didn't necessarily want to, you don't want to go out and fix that stuff, but rather enjoy it, and play off of it. And so that's what we did. And it's the same thing we did when we adjusted the gain up front, so that you can play it with like a hotter pickup, or you can even use it as like just a really good overdrive pedal. You can plug it into an amp that's a little dirty and just start ripping, and it's not overly saturated. Actually, it's really dynamic. So that is the commitment to you, is that we can improve without destroying, right? Right, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Improvement without destruction.
Exactly.
And you throw this switch and you're back to stock tone bender. So how do you like that?
It's like, fair warning, the stock tone bender is
It
hot.
will rip your head off. Stock
Yeah.
tone bender
That's
is
why it kind of fell
out of control. It's from, right? Everyone says,
How am I doing here?
everyone said, I need more, I need more, I need more. Yeah, unmute.
Oh, unmute, yeah.
Yeah.
Check, 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 check. Nothing coming through.
All right. Let's see. Go ahead and talk.
Check 1 2.
You're in
Check,
there.
check, check, check,
It's
check.
not loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check 1 2. Oh, there we go. I was right on it. So you should be able to sit here with this as an
Okay.
ambient
All right.
thing. You can stay there if you want.
No.
Now we have microphone. We are searching for moose and squirrel.
Yeah.
Why do I miss that
Making
show?
Sound loud into box.
Oh, Eddie Trucco brings up a great point. So, says everyone seems to forget about mics, boards, and all the other things that end up making that tone. Yeah. It's, you're listening to a recording of an amp, You like my shorts? It's hot here, man. I got to wear something bright. Boy, I got heartburn. Having one of those days. So you've got the guitar, you've got the strings, you've got the chord. Because people sell you cables and they sell you strings and they sell you all these things saying it will improve your tone or change your tone. So, and I believe that. So let's go with that assumption. that you have to reproduce the strings, the tone, the chord, the pick, the speakers, the tubes that are in the amp, the mic that was being used, the cable on the mic, the board itself. If it was a tube board, what state were the tubes in the board? Here, we'll get you on camera there.
Oh.
And the room is very important. That's right. How was it mic'd?
But you can shortcut all of that.
Yeah.
If you just replace the guy.
Yes. Right. Well, you beat me to the punch.
If you just get the guy.
Right. So how was it mic'd? Was it two mics? Was it a dynamic mic? Was it a condenser mic? Was it a large diaphragm mic? Was it a ribbon mic? And that's all before it hits the board. How was the board running? And then you're listening to a mastered recording. So was it mastered on chrome tape? Was it mastered on iron oxide tape? You know what I mean? Like, those are all significant things in the tone path. So anyone who's ever played like a 6900 watt super bass, it doesn't sound like it does on the record. That thing is up your nose. But by the time you put some compression on it and you mellow it out on a mastering process, it sounds all smooth and rich and warm. But a plexi will rip your eyebrows off. Yeah, tape speed, you know. We're going to play louder than that. But you're hearing a little bit of tone bender back there.
Oh, yeah. That's stop. So loud in there.
Is it?
Yeah. So you've muted the guitar mic.
Oh, I went the wrong ones.
Nope.
Vocals number 2.
Yeah. So that one.
That was the tone bender, kind of like all out.
That's the stock tone bender with the attack all the way down.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's how hot
it
it
is. The lightest setting with a vintage Strat of a tone bender, right?
Yeah.
Is that. So now, if you want to crank it up again.
Okay, let's do it again.
Yeah,
so that's on the clean channel of the amp. So that's how dirty
yeah, it's filthy.
that thing is.
Absolutely filthy.
So you get the idea. Can you guys hear that okay?
Yeah, you got to give us some feedback.
Feedback, pun intended. And then we'll dial it back and let you hear it.
Please.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Take my pick, please. Got sustain. Yeah, it's... So that's 3 germanium transistors in there. you don't have to play Hendrix songs.
So yeah,
You get the idea there.
that's
We'll
when
play-
I go to the low gain setting with some dirt on the amp. You know, unless you want to just really play it out. Let's play.
Yeah, we can play. You guys want to just play guitar for a while and goof off? 30-second lag
How
says.
responsive it is when you roll down the guitar. How responsive is it when you
Right.
roll down the guitar? In the stock tone bender setting,
Yeah.
it's a little less responsive when you roll down the
There's
guitar.
so much gain.
Because there's so much gain and it's so fat and so saturated. So the switch that we've put on here cleans it up a little bit, gives you more control when you do roll down the guitar. And because it's actually interacting with the guitar's signal and the cable and all that stuff, the stuff we stuck in there to keep some articulation and stuff is actually happening in the right place. It's happening on the other side of the cable
Right.
in the box, in the tone bender. And so, yeah, it's actually really responsive. And I'll show that in a second, where I can have some gain on the amp, have some gain on the pedal, and do the whole, like, how does it clean up story?
Right.
You know, like, well, what when you turn it down, right?
What happened?
Yeah. Because that's the test for all these things,
I'm
right?
just one of those guys. I wanted to
Yeah.
clean up a little bit.
Right. Even though you'll spend half the time with it cranked up all the way. But.
So, have any of you guys ever played a real tone bender? It's one of the things that always is kind of neat. You know, when we do this stuff, is most of the guys I know that are looking for a Plexi or an AC30 or a 59 Les Paul or whatever, they've never actually played one. So, a lot of the guys that make those products have never actually played one. Well, I've had a few tone benders, and they're wild. I mean, they're just wild, and they take you. You're going to have to spend a half hour with it to get used to it. But once you get a hold of it, it's kind of like saying, I didn't learn how to use the gearbox on a Ferrari, because I've driven a Ferrari, and they're really, like, the clutch feels like you're pushing into a brick wall, and the gearbox is really, if you don't hit the gear, it doesn't shift.
Yeah.
But when you figure out how it works, you can make the fastest, crispest shifts you've ever made in your life. And,
Punch it, Chewy.
right. You know, so when you learn how to go with a 12-cylinder engine, it's exhilarating. And it's kind of the same experience with the tone bender. If you plug in a modern guitar into a modern amp with this thing, it's just going to go, wah! And you're not used to it. And then you learn to back off, and you learn how to use your right hand and adjust the amp differently. And it's really fun. Well, a fuzz face is a different circuit. We're making one of those too, and we're going to call it the color face. The fuzz face is 2 transistors that's lower gain. This is a tone bender. It was the first over-the-top crazy gain. Who's scruffy looking? Me?
Yeah, Nerf Herder.
What?
That's from Han Solo.
Oh, there you go.
Well, you must have hit pretty close to the mark. Get them all riled up like that.
That hurts, man.
That's all movie quotes. Don't sweat it.
After the
Keep,
day
carry
I've had
on.
already.
Okay, fine. You're Luke Skywalker. Then does that make you
I'm
feel
not
better?
Han Solo?
No. Well, okay, fine. You're Han Solo. Jeez.
Okay. Now I feel better. You know, actually, it means nothing to me because I'm not a Star Wars guy at all.
Don't say that in public.
I know, there's pedal
You just
guys
alienated
here.
half the guys.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm a Star Trek guy. Old Star Trek.
Right.
You know.
Shatner style.
Spock, what are you talking about? I love William Shatner. And actually, you know what? William Shatner can do anything, and I find it entertaining.
It is.
Because I think the way he
Man.
speaks verges on a speech impediment.
Right.
And it's so hilarious. I mean, even his commercials.
Yeah.
Where he steals the biker's chick and runs off.
Yes. You're watching.
I thought that was Razor's old woman. Not anymore. You know. Shatner's hilarious. No offense to... It's not that I dislike Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I'm just not... You want me to quote movies, ask me to quote Mel Brooks.
There you go.
That's right. Somebody's gonna have to run back to town and get a shitload of dimes.
Who's coming over here from center staging? What is that all about?
Oh, they're returning Rascal Flatts stuff. They played on The Voice last night.
Yeah.
I need to fidget more during the impersonation. Yeah, my Shatner's not good. I got amps coming back here from Center Staging. You guys get to see real world stuff. Look. Center Staging's truck just came up out front. Come on in, man. They're returning amps from Rascal Flatts played on The Voice last night. This is good LA stuff.
Well, that's a good time to play, right?
Talk to
So here's what we'll do. This thing is, right now it's off. I'm going to give you the amps sound by itself. I turn it on. The amps tone by itself, which you'll hear has some gain on it. Then I'll start to toggle around with the pedal, turning it on and off.
And we're back.
Yeah.
What'd you think, fellas? The Calabinda.
In real time.
In real time. Live. From Rockefeller Center.
Ooh.
The Color Bender.
So yeah, all of those settings were pretty much that lower gain setting. That's the tone bender, but as what we did to it.
That's the 65 tone bender.
Yeah.
And you can take it to a stock circuit. So it's a clone and it's not a clone. I mean, cloning things is great. Bob Dragich, I need two. Hey, I know a guy. I can help you out. Dirty Sustainy. Yeah. I mean, it's not a polite pedal. It's not a clone or something. It's the opposite. It's that cool old stuff. And it's really useful and really cool. And man, does it make your guitar jump when you're playing in a band.
Yeah.
Frank brought his electric.
I did.
Look at this. The Falbo electric.
I just got it back, actually.
Where was it?
Where was it? It was, I think it was somewhere that one of your guys that types in might know about it. It was up with Bob Dragich.
Bob Dragich is on here.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He
Oh.
said he needed, I wish, if I had more color benders, I would have brought you one. But
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I took a trip up to San Francisco and met up with Bob to retrieve this. Yesterday it was being shown to somebody who is influential in the business, who enjoyed it very much.
Jimmy Iovine.
I don't know. I'm just saying that somebody enjoyed
Irving
the
Azoff?
guitar. No.
L.A. Reid.
And so now the exciting conclusion of this chapter of my life is that at some point I will now send it off to have it digitally scanned.
Ooh.
So that now
Could be CNC cut.
now a machine can help me to produce these so that my arms aren't falling off.
Well, let's close the loop on the color bender discussion, and then I'll have you give the full dog and pony on your guitar.
Oh, we
Because
don't have to do that
No, I really
necessarily.
want to because I enjoy it.
I wanted to hear it in the bender actually. Since I've never had
Oh,
this
yeah,
back.
because those pickups are hot.
I've never had this back and heard it in the bender.
Oh, yeah. So, Haas Thompson says, I want one now. Please send a couple to Peach when they're ready.
If you want
John.
them now, they're way more expensive.
Yeah, this one's about
it's
$1
$8
grand.
Yeah.
But John at Peach will order a bunch. Do not worry, Haas. I'll make sure. Would you mind asking him that too? Because if I say, "Oh yeah, there's a guy in England that wants to buy one,"
Sure there is.
they go, "Yeah, sure, sales guy." But if they hear it from you, I go, "Hey, let's fill these orders."
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a useful pedal. I mean, if you need some over-the-top stuff, you want to get into that Jack White craziness.
Yeah.
That's the pedal to do it. But then, if you're playing a Strat and you want to do some, late '60s through mid '70s, Hendrix through Gilmore type stuff, that's it. It does get a little gag if you push it there. Frank was doing a good job of keeping it right on the edge of gag and using that as a musical effect.
Yeah. Again, every germanium is different, and they do fluctuate slightly with temperature shifts, and that's
Right.
what we know and love
They're
about them.
gaggier on hot days.
But at any normal range of room temperature, what I
Yeah.
loved about this and how this came out is that it does not spit, and that's a testimonial
Right.
to these germaniums. It doesn't close up. There are people who want that sound, and that's maybe a different pedal, but this doesn't shut down and get like where it doesn't let the signal flow through.
And that's a good way of saying it, because I played a lot of tone bender copies,
Yeah.
and they can get the sound at the low, but when you push them, they do exactly what you're talking about, where they just start to fall off the rails. But what you end up getting is a lot of non-musical, odd-order harmonic stuff that's just abrasive. Like, it makes you go, oh, that's too much. And this one, you can push it into full-out, like, compression, but it's not choking, and it never gets atonal or non-musical. You can use it. I mean, you can really kill it if you want. And it's really fun. Yeah, Bob, I've played this guitar before. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So the question is good germanium versus average germanium. And the reason that I'm doing these pedals is we stumbled upon a batch of about 10,000 really, really good ones. And we bought them all. So no other pedal makers are going to have them, but that's the spillover benefit. The other benefit is we can make these for a long time. Of course, I want you to buy it right now, but if you
Yes.
can't afford it right now, you'll be able to buy it next year, and the year after that, and the year after that.
Well, think about it like this: 10, 15,000. If there's 3 per pedal,
Right.
that's 5,000 units.
Right.
Plus there's going to be a bender, there's going to be a face, there's going to be,
Yeah.
so, the
Well,
old,
the Bender's the only one that uses 3. The Color
yeah,
Face will use
they
2.
use 2,
The
the other
Color
one uses
Boost
1.
uses 1.
So, but I'm saying the vaudevillian or whatever, the
Yeah.
hurry and get it now is real,
Yeah.
to some extent, but not in such a way as some of these builders will say I can make 100,
Well,
or I
like
can
we
make
just
50. You know what I mean?
We just released the Color Boost, and we have been building slow, and we've delivered 280 of them already.
Yeah.
And there's another almost 200 on order right now.
Yeah, and that's not even
And
the
that was
first
3
thing.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we'll this
So,
one's
yeah.
going to be, I'm not sure on the price. It's going to be a little more than the Color Boost because it's 3 germaniums, and it's a more complicated circuit. And these are all hand wired. Remember, there's no printed circuit boards here, so a more complex pedal means more time. And we got at our level, we don't have minimum wage builders.
Right.
Our aggregate cost between the builders that are, the entry level builders versus our master builders is, $18 an hour. That's the aggregate cost. The master builders make way more than that. But so when you've got 3 hours building a pedal instead of 1, that increases the price. And then you got 3 germaniums versus 1, that increases the price. So I'm not going to tell you what we paid for these germaniums, but germaniums of this quality go for $30 a piece on the street. So it's these are consistent gain, low leakage, nice germanium.
Well, even the
transistors.
leakage. I mean, the ones that I tested, it was like, it's also consistent leakage,
Right.
and that's where
There's
like.
acceptable leakage and there's no outliers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I mean. You can, again, it's germanium, right? You can do your best on every component, and
Speak up.
you can do your best on everything, and then it shows up, on a hot stage, like I said, in the middle of summer, and someone goes, "It's sounding a little bit different," and your answer is, "Yes, it is."
Yeah, germanium is temperature sensitive. So.
But within that, what you want to have is some kind of consistency from pedal to pedal. In other words, what
Right.
you're making, you want it so that if I buy one, it sounds like this. Then if I'm on tour in Europe and I need another one, it also still sounds the same.
Yeah.
Instead of Jimi Hendrix going into Rudy's or wherever else
used to go
and
into-
lining up.
He used to go
right?
to Manny's.
Yeah, Manny's.
He'd go into
And,
Manny's and he'd line up 15 fuzz faces
Yeah.
to find one good one.
Right.
So that's the other thing too. I see a lot of guys that are just, I found an old whatever pedal and I'm copying it and that's
Yeah.
what I'm selling you. Well, if you go by the realistic numbers of what the old germanium transistor, the good ones were great.
Yeah.
And the other kind of 80% were not. So you got a 20% chance that you're doing it.
Yeah.
So we did do the tone bender circuit on this, but then we said, let's take it here, let's take it there. We upgraded the components seriously over the way the old ones were built. Plus, as we've talked about before, we're using full-size amp parts. We're not using computer parts. No offense to computer parts, but they sound different. And if you want the sound of a vintage pedal, those little tiny, tiny wee parts didn't exist back then.
Did you
They
just say-
made them with,
Did you just say wee parts?
not wee, but wee.
Ah,
Like
okay.
W-E-E,
Yes.
as in English,
Yeah.
not American. Wee.
Right.
Aye, it's a wee little part it is.
Really? That's English?
No, it's Scottish.
Okay. I'm just making sure I just want to keep everything in,
Unless you want
in
me to be
compartments.
I could be Irish or Welsh too. I could be from Liverpool. Hey, Paul, that's a wee transistor you got
Yeah.
there. So all that was available back then were 0.5 watt and 1 watt resistors and 200 to 400 volt caps, and that's what we're using. So, and we're using really the same nice hookup wire that we use in the amps, same full size switches, everything. It's all amp stuff. So you're getting something that's well made. So anyway, that was a long, circuitous route to the price, Bob. I'm sorry. It's probably going to be about $290. But it's going to be kind of, I hope, the last sort of germanium thing you need. So,
Yep.
sounded more like an odd leprechaun. Yeah, I lived in England, and it's been over 20 years. I used to be to the point where I could, because every day in London, somebody would come up and go, "Oh, you're an American. Let me tell you what I hate about America." So being a musician and using my ears, I started perfecting my English accent, and I got to the point after a while where I'd walk around all day and no one knew that I was American.
Hmm.
And then we'd get into a conversation or a couple of pints at the pub later, and I'd speak in my normal voice,
Yeah.
and they would go, "Wow, that's a fantastic American accent." I
bet
go,
it
"Yeah,
is.
that's because I'm from Missouri."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I lived in Southwest London, so I got pretty good. But I'm not going to do it now because there's English people on here, and that makes you really self-conscious, and you can't do it correctly.
Yeah, it's like if I had to play guitar in front of my hero or something.
Yeah,
You
plink
know.
plonk plank,
Yeah.
plonkety plink plonk.
Yeah.
I have a couple.
Luckily, none of
stories
you are
like
my
that.
heroes, and so I can play really well on this show. I can
Except
really
for Bob
just let
Tracy.
it rip. As soon as is he on?
Yeah.
Oh crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoke,
Blink.
smoke on the
Blink.
water.
Blink. Yeah, just clamming right up.
Smoke on the
Yeah.
water.
If you want to hear this I just made this work. This
Yeah.
would be.
We
This
gotta
would be.
turn
All right. So this is a hot pickup because I have it in the hot setting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What would this be?
All
equivalent to?
out. All out
Like
bender.
a 16K pickup.
No, it's equivalent to something in the JB output range, right?
15,
Hot
16K.
rodded, hot rodded humbucker output level. So I have a hot pickup. I'm hitting the bender. I have the attack cranked.
Right.
So this is as nasty and as gnarly as it gets.
And it's not going to fall apart.
Right, it won't fall apart. There will be some hair on it, like there's going to be some snap, crackle, and pop.
Yeah.
But it
It's
is
gonna be under distress.
it's all but it's all musical, and I'm doing it in the clean channel, so I'll toggle back and forth on the clean channel. Yeah, so mute it up. And there you go. So yeah, that's about as nasty as it gets, and it's still musical. It's still stuff you can work with.
Like Jack White.
Yeah.
Over the Black Keys.
Yeah.
Over the top.
Yeah, but it works with the harmonic structure. So there's other pedals that I've heard that will intentionally obfuscate the harmonic structure. They
Well, they just
will.
bark.
Exactly. You know, they
Frank's being
turn to
diplomatic.
noise.
They just bark. I mean, which
Yeah.
is, it's understandable because there's just not that much good germanium around anymore. It's not
Yeah.
like someone's designing a bad pedal. It's
Right.
just that if you don't have the right components, it's not going to stay
Yeah.
together.
Yep. Friend of mine, I told him, I was like, yeah, we found some, Dan found some good germaniums. He's like, whoa, good germaniums?
Sure.
Yeah,
did.
and I was like, no, good for guitar pedals. He's like, okay, got it.
Alright.
I mean, if germanium was good, it would
Right.
still be going up in the satellites today.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
right. It's good for
It's
producing
good for what
distorted
we
guitars.
do.
Why don't you sit here and tell people about your guitar?
Oh,
Hook up a
okay.
nice clean sound. Get you a little compression, a little verb going. Oh, you got that thing choked.
Vocal mic 1 is on,
And so is the guitar mic.
and
if
so is the guitar
If
mic.
you play quietly, it'll be fine.
Let's see what happens. this.
There you go.
So yeah.
Tell us how this guitar is made.
So here's what I did. I mean, if anybody knows what I do on the acoustic guitars, I use the string's own tension to counteract its torque, that is the torque that's created by the string tension. So normally the string tension is going to want to pull this thing up like that. I go into the guitar and I do it in such a way where I bring this torque negative. I actually invert it. And so what you end up with is, and Nick's asking, the compressor's off right now. You'll hear compression on YouTube, Ustream, but you won't. I don't have the compressor on. Okay, so I'm kind of undoing that belly that you get behind the bridge on an acoustic guitar on the acoustic side. There's a million other benefits to that, but I'm using the leverage. I'm using this tension to sort of undo that. On the electric, that's where I said, look, if I make a full-on hollow body, I can use this negative torque, not in a way to pull down behind the strings or the bridge or anything, but I actually bring up and I tie it to underneath the tunematic. So now I'm pushing up underneath the tunematic. What that means is that I have a top that's really lively because you can hear it acoustically, right? But it doesn't feed back as a box. So like everything feeds back if you crank it up loud enough, but the box itself doesn't go woo and its Helmholtz frequency, because that's controlled. If I let a note ring out, then if I have a loud amp, then the strings want to keep going. I mean, right now it's a clean sound and it's still sustaining. But it's all under control. It's if you get it howling, then you can just stop the strings, and now it stops. So it's kind of like it's a really responsive hollow body. There's not a block down the center either, so it's a true hollow. It's not a semi. But let's see if I can play a little bit. What if I turn this?
Yeah, turn your mic on.
Now the microphone's on. There you go.
So yeah, guys, while he was playing, I turned on light compression
Yeah,
and then a little bit of delay.
that's a great
I
compressor.
because he had the compressor just completely pumping for effect
Yeah.
earlier. So I've got the ratio at about 5 to 1. The attack knob is at about 1 o'clock. The release knob's at about 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
The output's at about 1 o'clock. The input sensitivity is down at about 10 o'clock. So if you know 1176s, it's just nice warm up compression for some clarity.
Yeah.
And then it's going through Bob Bradshaw's buffer
Yep.
and through the color bender, which is off. Put a little bit of the Deja Vu delay on. It's got a little blue sky reverb on it. So
Yeah.
we can play it completely dry if you want.
Sure.
Let's do that.
So here's some questions. What do we have? Nice sounds. I love 330, but the feedback just sold my 59 VOS, not giggable. So yeah. So Nick, how does it compare to a 335? It will squeal and feedback when you hold a note, but just standing there and sitting there, it doesn't feedback as much like a 335, because that Helmholtz resonance of the box and the body is being sort of counteracted. Like the top is under its own governance.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't want to run away and howl, like I said. You
It
know,
resonates in sympathy.
well, that's the key, is that
Yeah.
it's part of a feedback loop with the string, so it's communicating back to the string, but it's not doing so in such a way that it just wants to howl by itself. So that's kind of fun. Haas, how much, Frank, can it come with trisonic pickups? Of course it can. These, when they go into production with the CNC aid, I mean, this particular one is somewhere between $66,000 and $500,000 because of the
You
amount
pick,
of work
you know.
that I did. Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of a donation thing, whatever you're comfortable with, between 60,000
Starting
and
at
500,000.
60,000.
Yeah, that's a suggested donation.
That's
for
about
the-
what you have in
Yeah,
it.
right. Because
Yeah.
I've basically, taken 10 years off my life by hand carving this.
His
thing.
hair was black when he started.
Yeah,
this
that's right. So,
50
no,
Shades
but,
of Grey, baby.
I mean, we'll come in, somewhere around $3,500 for a production unit, and it won't be different than this. The gosh honest truth is,
Might be better.
Hey, whoa, no, but when it's cut, with the CNC, there's still some hand finishing processes, of course, and so what this guitar does is not inherently a result of my spending hours tuning it and tapping it and listening and shaving off one other 20 thousandths along the border. I designed it. I knew what it would sound like. I knew what it was going to do, and so I knew what how to carve it, and I carved to that dimension. And then now that I have it, I'm in business. So as far as the pickups, who was saying tell us about the Rock and Roll Willie? Tell us about the pickups. So yeah, these are the new Fishman Fluence pickups. They're not shipping yet from Fishman, but this is a project I was involved in heavily and still am, will be for a while. These pickups are manufactured using different techniques, to say the least. They're game changers. They basically are, instead of a wire wound coil, you've got 48 layers of precision PCB coil, all one layer at a time. So instead of a coil that goes up and down and up and down, each layer is its own coil. So the short version of the story is that these coils are the best picture we've ever taken of the strings, ever, in my estimation. Because of that, now I can shape and make them sound how I want them to sound without compromise. And dynamically, they are incredible. So the speed, the velocity, like the transient, the pick attack, all that stuff is so good that by the time you're done, you have a pickup that just blows everything away. The same influential person I was referring to yesterday put this guitar down and grabbed his Les Paul that he really, really liked. And man, the differences, you can tell the difference immediately. Obviously, Ustream is going to truncate some things, but I could not be happier with this whole project with Fishman, how these pickups sounded, how they're coming out. There's going to be more. There's going to be a bunch more models. There's going to be some artists you'll hear about that are starting to use them now that they're available. But yeah, basically each pickup has 2 voices in it. I have them set on a push-pull, so you pull it up or push it down, and you get both sounds available on the pickup. I also have a coil split on it. It's a true coil split. You get 1 coil instead of 2. But that's an option. You can put it on a push-pull if you want. The main payoff of these things is like there's like two distinct different humbuckers in one box. You switch between them, and it's nothing like it's not like it's this sound, but then you can push it a little in this direction. I mean, they are two completely different sounds, just nailing it. Each one, no compromise to each one. Haas is asking, nitro finish available? Yes, but not before I have a conversation about the finishing methodologies that we do use currently. And so nitro finish, it's funny. Nitro finish means different things to different people. Some people want it because, I mean, let's face it, some people want it because they want to say they have a nitro finish. But
Well, let's be honest, too. Anyone that's doing nitro in the U.S. legally,
yeah,
there's a coat of poly in between each coat because of the EPA.
right.
So no one's making true nitro anymore unless you get a bootleg job done at someone's house, which I have a guitar that's done like that, and it looks really cool. But any production guitar that's legal, it's going to be sold by a corporation that has papers. The nitro on there has a coat of poly sealer in between each coat of nitro.
So
You don't get the breathability of nitro.
So
it just looks cool.
with the NSA listening, contact me.
I don't know anyone who actually
privately
does it, though.
if we wanted to discuss the merits and possibilities of true nitrocellulose finishes.
Hashtag federal prison.
But it is true that most of the nitros that you buy from anybody does have poly undercoats and stuff like that. So when people say they want it for the sound, it's not that it doesn't change the sound. It's not that, but there's
not what you would expect.
It's not what you expect, and it's not what you're not getting what you think you're getting either. That's the point. Is that you're getting a guitar that has nitro on the outside, or even a bunch of coats of nitros on the outside, but some plasticky stuff underneath. And so that is part of the tonal recipe. And so if you can recreate what people like about nitro in just by utilizing a thinness of a finish and an elasticity of a finish,
right,
then sometimes you're there. You're where you want to be with regard to the tone.
There's a lot of different types of poly.
Yes, there are. And
there's
acrylic,
one type
polyurethane
of nitro.
and stuff. Right. So there's so many different kinds. But then the flip side comes when some people say, I like nitro because I like the way it feels. I like the way it feels on my skin. I mean, we know
it doesn't
that
stick.
Sometimes obviously you picked up an old Les Paul that has 100 people's DNA all over the surface of it needs to be cleaned off. So it's not that it always feels great, but for some people they like.
It's
the way
just
it
more
feels.
porous.
Yeah, that's a different story. So when someone likes that, and that's how they want their guitar to feel, and they're not really, then we can have a different conversation too. Because if I come over with, depending on what those final coats are and how they're buffed out and how it feels. I mean, this guitar, what I liked about it, it's a gloss neck and a sunbursted neck, but the material that's used is never sticky, and there's some trade secrets in here, but it does not feel like a plasticky import neck.
Well, Frank
right?
mixes baby tears into the
finish. I
finish.
have 4 kids, 2 of them under the age of 3, so we mix a little bit in.
Right.
No.
If they're like my kids, I just tell them, Daddy's in the ant business, you don't get any new shoes, and then they all cry, and then we collect the tears. And...
Yeah. To eat one, that makes you stronger.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's a Conan bit.
Exactly.
So nitro is a discussion that can be had, but I won't blanketly stay across a format such as this. That yes, I can do it, and you should get it, and it sounds great, and it's better than
if you
what
pay
I currently
for it,
use.
we'll do it.
Yeah, there's that. So let's see, what else? Questions. Amazing. That is amazing and wonderful. Ustream aside, if I had the money, I'd order one of those guitars right now. Okay, Rev Ranulf. So all of you other guys, contact him and donate to the cause because he's ready. Anyway, so that's my story.
Can we do a lunch special for Lunch with Dan Boul instead of 60? Would you take 50 for that right now?
50,000
today?
Today only.
PayPal. What's your PayPal account?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I'll even do that for half down, and the rest upon delivery.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So $50,000, $25,000 down.
Right.
And anyway.
Only during the show though. Once we log out.
Yeah, and we're out.
Don't. Yeah. Click.
So Nick's asking, please tell about the neck. Okay, so Randy Creeth, Rev Ranulf, Randy Creeth.
I think it's Creth. That's how I say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And So the neck shape. This particular one that I'm holding in my hand is a little on the large side, and I did that on purpose because I have a potential customer in mind. At the end of the day, once this is finally done and it's made its rounds and everything, if it hasn't been sold by then there's a guy who will probably want it, and he likes a little bit of a bigger neck. So it's a little bit on the chunky side, but my necks in general are not necessarily big. They don't necessarily feel big in the hand. This is a 1 3/4 inch nut width. But yes, correct, and got it right. When I shape them, when I profile, I am sloping the shoulders a little bit. Not in such a way that when you look at it, it looks like it's been artificially relicked, but in such a way that it feels right when you're, playing it. But then the other thing I do,
the geometry of the neck is really friendly, even though it is
yes,
large. But large doesn't just mean large. It's large and well shaped, and there's so many
yeah,
dirty jokes there that I'll leave alone. But uh, it's big on this guitar because,
yeah,
like you said, he made it for a specific person. But it's eminently playable. It doesn't get in the way at all, and it matches for the geometry of my hand. I feel like I have constant contact with the neck instead of just working my way around a big neck.
yeah,
I feel like I'm in contact with the guitar the whole time, and for me, that's a plus.
yeah. It's when I was even when I was man, I want to say I was 12 or 13 or something. I mean, I looked at my hand and I was like, that's not a circle. I mean, it's not, even when I go like this, it's still not a symmetrical, U or a C. And so we all have our favorite neck shapes. Some guys like them C, some D, some deeper D, some wide, thin, whatever. But there is a case to be made for some slight asymmetry to put into the neck profile. And I do that. However, I do it in such a way that you don't know it's there. So if you've played a neck where somebody has said, this neck is asymmetrical, usually you grab it and you go, oh, I see, and I can feel that. In my case, it's done in such a way that you don't really notice it unless or until I point it out to you. And even then, you're not thinking about it. And so again, it's just those little tricks of the trade where, I want it to fit your hand. I want it to be able to be comfortable play over a long period of time. And so for that reason, I had a very short woman, 5'1", if she had shoes on, very small hands. She played the parlor guitar. She said, "What's this nut width?" And she bought it, eventually. But she said, "What is this?" I said, 1 3/4. She said, "No way." She said, "There's no way this is 1 3/4. There's no way." I said, "Yeah." She goes, "How did you do that?" She goes, "I can't play 1 3/4 inch nut width." So life has taught her, if it says 1 3/4 on the spec sheet, skip it.
She's got an arbitrary.
Yeah, so skip
Opinion
that.
of
And
it,
she's
yeah.
right. She's right out there in the marketplace, but she played it before she asked me the question, and so
Well, you're also doing the
she's
same.
the happy owner now.
You're doing the same thing we talk about a lot on the show. Is instead of just cloning something old,
Yeah,
you're making it in the way that you think is good, and that sometimes in our business, for a business of really supposedly creative people,
yeah,
it's astonishingly traditional and conservative,
it is.
and a lot of guys are afraid to do anything different because they think that's not how so and so did it, or I'm scared to take a chance because no one will buy it.
Yep.
Blah 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 blah. But there's some obvious improvements. The 6 string guitar has been around for a couple hundred years now, and the neck hasn't changed dramatically over that
Right.
time. I mean, neck's got really thin,
Right.
at one point. Radiuses have changed.
Right.
But what you're doing here, it is a big neck, but it's not uncomfortable at all. It's
Yeah.
it's very the only word that comes to mind is it's very cooperative and encouraging when you're playing it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Enabling,
Do you want to make you want to play longer and play more? And
It keeps your hand in a really comfortable position.
yeah,
That
it's so
I have pretty average paws. They're nothing crazy, and I didn't find it uncomfortable in the slightest. And I played lots of Gibsons that had big necks where I was actually sore after 20 minutes of playing
Yeah.
it. And I like a big neck, but I've played some that are just kind of crazy.
Yeah. And there is one of the big companies that he just mentioned.
Rhymes
does
with
have-
Schmipson.
Yeah, it does have some. It doesn't have. They have an asymmetrical neck on one of their new models,
Mm-hmm.
and I almost want to say it's a standard or something like that, but it's something. and I played it, and I was like, the first thing was like, okay, it's really asymmetrical. They exaggerated it,
Yeah.
and you can tell. It's nice that it's there. It's nice that they're saying that, and they're saying it with their bullhorn. Um, but at the same time, I don't want anybody to feel like they went and played an asymmetrical neck and therefore knows what mine will feel like. That's not the case at all. If, like I said, when I don't tell somebody, they don't even know that it's there. They don't know the difference. If you flip it around and play it lefty, then where your thumb goes, you can kind of tell. You can say, okay, now I feel what the difference is this way versus this way. But it's very, very subtle. Michael Tobias used to make some asymmetrical bass necks, and it was a love-hate thing. The guys who like them, they love them. The guys who don't, they don't. But he had a really aggressive slope on it.
And it's really so subjective. Everyone's hand's different.
Right.
So
So if I can cast the widest net, if I can make a neck shape that sort of, almost feels like the neck shape itself is bending to the person who plays it, then I think it's clear that we can take over the entire world.
yeah.
All of you guys are first in line with me. And,
Well,
world
plus the guy who's
domination
going to pay
2014.
50 grand today. So.
Oh yeah, there was a guy. Hey, if I had the money, I'd give it to you right now.
Yeah. There you go.
Hey, if I had it, I'd keep the guitar.
There
Right? If I had-
That's right. If I had 50 grand, I'd go, look
lying
at the
around.
guitar I made.
Yeah,
Man.
I would be on this show. Right?
That's right.
Nobody's
We'd be
getting
wasting
it.
time and valuability.
Yeah, there is an actual price. It's the 6250 for the actual hand carved model. This one, if somebody takes this hand carved model for 6250, they have just purchased 7 years of my life for pennies on the dollar. But
For
there-
like $800 a year.
yeah, but there is a
That's like $75 a month.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But
And
I
then
would
You got 100 people to pay you $75
yeah.
a month.
Then I'd be able to
Maybe
eat this
1,000,
month.
maybe
Yeah.
1,000 people.
But no, so there, a hand-carved version of this, carved by me. I will never turn that down. I will continue to, I'll take requests for that. But we know
You
that
could actually sell
most
your
people-
prototype?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Never sell your
Yeah,
prototypes.
yeah, I know. But again, it should be played, right? So if somebody said, "Hey, I want that, the one that you hand carved, and it has X number of value to me," if it's just sitting in my shop, hanging on the wall, or if it's actually out there on stage or in the studio making some music, I'd rather have it make some music, and that's the truth of it.
You gotta talk.
I got to talk up a little bit. He's saying, but yeah, so making music, that's what it's all about, right? And Nick's asking wider to appeal to jazzers. Yeah, again, not necessarily. The production version of this will not be as large as what we are talking about right now.
Are you going to do any other shapes?
Any other neck shapes?
No, body shapes.
Oh, well, that's the future of the guitar business. So yeah, I mean, as a guitar designer and a guitar maker, I have an entire rollout plan. So I have, just like you have,
yeah.
lots of different
I've
amplifiers.
got 10 years of products.
Yeah, yeah. So of course.
For those of you who are familiar with Bob Dylan, I'm on Maggie's farm.
Yeah.
I got 1,000 ideas, but she makes me sweep the floor.
Yeah. So so what's it called? Because this is my the first hollow body. It is just the Falbo Alpha Series hollow body. So this is the maiden voyage. This is the launch of my hollow body. I don't need a GX 2400 designator after it at the moment. But when we go into full production and we begin to have
You're not going to make the
some
Falbo
semi-hollow-
Ultra?
Yeah, no. Yeah, the Falbo, faux tube guitar.
Extreme
Yeah.
Ultra X3.
Yeah, no, I don't think that. I think my clientele would be insulted by the condescension therein.
Or the assumption that they have a low IQ.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need to tell you that this is the whatever, right? This is the Magic Hands 5000.
Right.
So yes, this is my hollow body, and that's what it is. If there's a hollow body single cut at some point, then we talk about that. But that's how this will be named. There will be some press on it. I had it at NAMM. It is going to get 3D scanned, and so then that's when we were really going to go big time with this thing.
And Bob's writing a review, right?
He is, and I was amazed. So all of those of you who can see here, that Bob is part of the comments.
Everyone say hi, Bob Dragage.
Say hi, Bob Dragage, and give him a round of applause on your keyboard because he is an amazing person and
has some of the best jokes I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got very, very, very sophisticated, good jokes.
Yeah, no, he's a great person, and so he is. There will be a vintage guitar magazine that will have a full review of this very instrument in it.
But you saw it first.
That's right. You heard about it first, and you saw the guitar, right? So that's it. Yay!
Well, I guess we should start wrapping up.
Oh, I could do that.
Do you guys want to hear anything else before we go? You got a good taste of the whiskey.
Yeah.
Got a good taste of the color bender. Got a good taste of the Falbo guitar.
Yeah.
You got some... we didn't talk about it much, but you got to hear the Cali 76 compressor.
That's true. That's really an amazing product.
Which is...
I really like that.
Thank you, Simon and Robin over at Origin Effects. I'm blown away. And
if you want to see, this is what we are looking at. This is a reflection of the computer screen when we sit and watch what you guys are typing to us in the paint job of the guitar.
Yeah. Oh, no, here. This is... I like to do the MC Escher camera angle once in a while.
Yeah.
Here's what we're looking at.
Yep. Woo!
So here's your chat window.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now it's going all crazy. But
yeah.
That's what we're looking at on the side of the screen.
Awesome.
There's a little microphone right there. A little Elliott Telecaster in the background. There's the whiskey. Going through just a little 112 right now. The board that Dave Friedman helped me string up. Thank you, Dave. Piles of gear laying in front of the fireplace. Behind the scenes, my Apogee Duet.
Yay.
Which is what we're going through. Thank you again to the guys at Apogee for giving me a great deal on this. And
that's what it takes to be in the TV business nowadays.
Man, and I'm at an entry-level Wayne's World level. Once I get real internet, I can use real cameras and have a 3-camera shoot and give you full-on 1080p high-def sound and picture and everything, but I don't have enough internet.
Yeah. Plus, I look a lot better in low def.
There is something
to say. But the guitar would
look
great.
Like when we were at the old shop and I had really good bandwidth that was high def, I had to shave, and the lighting had to be just right.
Yeah, if I took a picture of Dan right now and posted it,
I did shave today. But usually I don't.
Yeah.
Because I figure we're all guys here, right? It's not a big deal.
Not always. You never know, right?
Well, Anita Farragher comes on, and I think she's here today. Hi, Anita.
Yeah.
Anita's hip. Yeah. You know, she's in the music business.
Right.
She's used to guys that don't shave every day.
Yeah.
That's how we keep our skin looking young. Don't wash your hair every day and don't shave every day. You want to shower every day. I'm
this
saying
man
that.
Does not speak for me.
But you need to give your skin and your hair a break if you want it to look young. I'm just saying.
Is that why I went gray prematurely? Because of daily hygiene regimen?
Or stress.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, that causes it? Stress makes your hair turn gray?
I don't want to say names, Kenny, because that would be
yeah.
wrong.
Well, that just explains everything then.
Yeah. Look at Seymour.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gray.
Has been for a long time.
Yes, he has. All right. So with that.
On that happy note.
Yeah, someone likes
we expect the phone to be ringing from the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yeah, that's right.
Soon.
There's a Ustreamer who likes the F-hole. Thank you. It is technically inverted. Most F-holes will go that way over here, and they will go the other way here. I liked it like that. But yes, it's a unique design that I sat and obsessed over for quite some time. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Muchas gracias.
Yeah. And there you go. Take your seat back.
All right. Yeah, we'll finish up. I don't know if we need to play any more guitar or not.
No, I didn't see anything on the screen that says you should play me this or that or the other.
Yes. All right, fellas. So, thank you, Frank. That was just darn cool. Really darn cool. It's a fantastic guitar. Anyway, so Color Bender. We'll have this all recorded and posted here shortly. Share it with your friends. And you guys, and we were playing through the whiskey the whole time. So those dirty sounds and those clean sounds you're hearing were all from the whiskey. And just so you know, the effects were all going in the front. I just didn't have time to hook in the loop. So they will probably sound much better going through the loop. And I'll tell you what, we're running out of time. I will have the Bogner Wessex here next week, and I'll have this board properly set up through the loop. So will you come back and see us? And watch it evolve, right? I would appreciate it. But it's almost 2 o'clock here, and we got to split. I got to pick my kids up from school here in 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And we got to get a bite somewhere really quick. So anyway, thank you guys. It's been a fun couple hours hanging out. I really appreciate your time. And any chance of hey, hey, my with the color bender? I don't know what that is. Hey, hey, my, what is that?
Don't know.
I'll tell you what, Hoss, will you come back next week?
Yeah.
And we'll do it.
Send a link.
Yeah. What is hey? I'm sure you're going to say it and I'm going to go, oh,
right,
of course.
that
hey,
song,
hey, my,
yeah.
But I'm blanking on it right now because I'm what's the word I'm looking for? Dork. Dork. Hey, Dr. Knoll, glad you made it by. A little bit of a mellow pace show today, but hopefully it was informative. And if you guys, very soon I will be over at Friedman's and we'll have a proper rig again. Neil Young, baby. Even when you spell it wrong, I like it. Niall Young. I know, I'm kidding. Only joking.
That's a quick turnaround time.
I know, it was good. So, of course I'll be back next week. All right, thank you, Hoss. We appreciate you sincerely. And on that bombshell, I'm going to go ahead and say good afternoon. For those of you in Europe, good night. I appreciate you staying up. It's between 10 and 11 p.m. over in Europe, depending on which country you're in. And kiss the kids good night for me, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.